and just be able to have an opportunity to have faces behind. At Leman Academy, relationship is at the heart of what we want to do. We use that. So you is step in that piece, building this relationship. So you get to know me, I get to know you, we get to know some of our teachers. Some of our teachers live quite a distance from here and not able to make it. We have one teacher who is with us today who lives in Texas. She came all the way to Tucson just for today. We've got another teacher who's also moving to Texas. I think Texas is drawing virtual academy. But they will be working on Arizona Times and working with your scholars. Welcome, please come in, have a seat. Some seats scattered around. The Virtual Academy is a part of Leman Academy of Excellence, and our mission is to offer a rigorous classical education based on the traditions of Western culture, where all disciplines are interrelated, allowing scholars the ability to think independently and critically. We purpose to partner with supportive parents like you, so thank you for coming, to pursue excellence and to provide a safe and challenging environment, and to instill morals and values in order to produce tomorrow's leaders today. Looking at all the kids here, and looking at all the exciting things that they're going to do as a result of being a part of our school, as they prepare for high school and college and the world beyond. So thank you for coming. I'm glad that you could be here. I'm glad that you're joining with us this year. We'll do a little bit of introductions. Ms. Joanne Zedliah, you met at the front desk. She's our receptionist, and it will be transitioning a lot of the initial questions through her email as opposed to coming to mine. But you're still welcome to email me. You're still welcome to call me. My phone number at the bottom of my email does ring my cell phone right now, as we're in the middle of transitioning offices, so you will get a hold of me. So please feel free to leave a message if I don't pick up. But when we have an office phone registered, she will be answering those phones. So this is Joanne. I'm going to introduce Mrs. Joelle Smith, standing in the back here. Mrs. Smith joins us from Leman. She went on maternity leave, and then we were able to rope her back in to teach with us for our kindergarten and first grade. So I'm very excited to have her working with your scholars. Some of our scholars who are here today had Mrs. Smith last year, and I think had just a delightful experience. So please feel free to ask questions of some of the scholars who have been here for all the new families. Mrs. Amy Cooper is going to be teaching our second grade courses this year. She joins us from a long history of not being a teacher. However, with her teaching credentials, she fell in love with Leman Academy. When her kids up in Oro Valley started going to school, she decided to contact me to see if there were opportunities to teach. And we have an opportunity for second grades. I'm thrilled to have Mrs. Cooper joining us to take over second grade, be the Cooper Chameleons for this year. Ms. Elizabeth Berry, she comes from Sierra Vista. She is a part of our Leman Academy in Sierra Vista, and she and her husband are being restationed to Texas. But she will be remaining with Leman through the Virtual Academy, and she will be teaching our upper elementary grades. So she will be teaching third grade, fourth, and fifth grade. And then Mrs. Melinda Kilty in the back here is also from Texas, but she is also a former Leman educator. She worked in Marana in our first 1 or 2 years? First year of teaching. First year of Leman, I should say. And sorry about that. So Mrs. Kilty will be teaching our middle school scholars. So she will be teaching 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And I couldn't be more thrilled to have this team working with us. At the start of last school year, I was doing a lot of the organization for the curriculum and doing teaching, and can I tell you, it's quite overwhelming. So to have a staff of teachers who are committed and the effort that they have put in, they've worked all summer working our curriculum for the entire district, and they have done just a fabulous job. So I'm excited for each and every one of you to be able to have one of these teachers. If you have questions, your teachers' email addresses are on the sheets that were handed out on your way in. You can begin that correspondence. I'm sure they have reached out or will be reaching out very shortly this week in advance of Monday's lessons. A little bit about the rest of our IT department. Our IT specialist is Mr. Hesprich. He's in the back here. If you have any issues with computer programs, with logins, with any of the details, Mr. Hesprich will be your go-to. So if you get an email from Mr. Hesprich, he is part of our academy and he is alongside to help out. He's also right now working on our art and music enrichment courses to provide your scholars with lessons for art and music. So thank you, Mr. Hesprich. And then I get to be your principal, and I'm excited to do so. I come from 15 years of teaching and administration in Pennsylvania. My wife and I and our kids moved out to Arizona for health reasons for my wife, but quickly fell in love with Leman Academy. The mission that we have, the classical education, the focus on virtues and values, it fits with who I am as an educator. And being in a position to now work with these teachers and youth families is exciting, and I'm thrilled to be here. One of my joys this year will be organizing some parent meetings that we will walk through some parent education opportunities so that you can have an opportunity. I'm going to teach you how to be parents. I'm going to teach you how to monitor kids at home to get the best work out of your scholars that you can get from home. Be able to be a source of encouragement and a source of help for you as families in a home environment. So that gets to be my role this year, which I'm ecstatic about. We're going to get right into some very nitty-gritty stuff. You guys are all enrolled, so I am excited to get started. I'm sure one of the most important questions that you have is, what do we do? How do we log on? Where do we start? It starts with your email address. The sheets of paper in front of you are your login information for your Leman Academy Families domain email address. That email address is what we are going to be communicating through primarily. So it's important to follow that email, to check that email regularly. There's easy ways to have that email forwarded to your personal email, but that email address will give you access to our system. So the first step, if you ever get a denied access or you need to ask for permission or some type of glitch, your browser is not logging in through your email address. So that would be the first step. If you adjust that, it should take care of most of the rest of the problems. So what we're going to do, log into Google, and then we're going to go to our website, Leman Virtual Academy. If you just type that in, Virtual Academy will pop up. It's one of the first two items on there. And on that screen, there will be a Scholar Login button. When you click on that button, it's down here in blue, circled in red there on the screen. When you click on that button, it will take you to a program called Clever. That program houses all of the rest of your login information. The only email, or the only login that you will need to remember is for your email address. The rest of our programming all feeds through Clever. So when you log into Clever, You're going to click on Scholar Login, you log in with Google, and you click on Schoology. You will see these types of icons. So you will see your Schoology app, you will see an attendance app, and through Clever, your Gmail address acts as the key to open everything else. If you get an error, it's because you're not logged in as your Leman families, where when your scholars are have their login information, it's not logged in as them. That's why. So first step, we're going to log in as Google, and then go to our website. 2 clicks and you're into school. The nice thing about Google Chrome is it will remember those passwords. So if you are on your own personal machine, you can leave that set up and the kids will be able to log in regularly without any trouble. Again, if there are issues, if there is a misspelling of an email account, of a name, that would be a great question for Mr. Heskrich, and he'll be able to go in and adjust that and fix that. Schoology is where we will have all of our assessments, all of our assignments, all of our communication from our teachers to our scholars. Schoology will be the key. Parents, for you, the second app here is the attendance app. That's going to be very important. The state monitors us on attendance, and so we are asking you to log that attendance each week. You can do it one of two ways. You can log it at the end of every day, or you can log it at the end of the week. Each of the attendance forms is for a single day, so you can monitor that whatever is going to serve you as a family. Some families with multiple kids found it very difficult to log just one time at the end of the week. It was a lot of data entry, so we've adjusted those forms so that they're daily to account for that. Other families like to have that finished product at the end of the day where they can say, I've done school, my scholars have done school, here's our attendance. And then we will monitor that attendance and be reporting on that attendance for you. Any of the other apps that are in here are for the scholars. So Study Island is a great app that some of our teachers will be using and directing kids to. That direction will all come through Schoology, which you will have access as soon as you guys begin logging in today. When you log into Schoology, when you click on that button, this is the screen that you'll see. These are my courses that I have built, so you won't see those exact ones. But this green bar across the top, you know you're in the right spot. You'll see courses and groups and resources. Courses are your actual coursework. So that's where you'll have English language arts. That's where you'll have math. That's where you'll have science. That's where you'll have history. It's where you'll get your art enrichment, your PE direction, your music, any Latin or language group. All of that will come through courses. Groups is an opportunity for conversation. So if your teacher set up a group, that is for discussions. That can be for groups outside of Leman. So there are groups that you as parents, because you will have an account as well, your parents will be able to create groups, create a Leman Families group, and be able to have discussions about questions that you have, things that are going well, things that you're struggling with, be able to help each other out. And we will be utilizing that internal system for communication with each other, almost like a Facebook page, but it can tie right to what we're doing in Schoology. I will be putting each family into training groups where I can do short presentations. I can post them there. You'll be able to find this video on there as well when we download it and we post it in there, so you'll be able to go back and see some of this information again. The resources is just like a filing cabinet. If your scholars are working on things and want to take pictures just to file things to get them ready, that is their personal ability to organize those resources. So as the kids grow and get older, they'll be utilizing that more frequently. Little side note about Schoology, there are fabulous mobile apps for Schoology, which make uploading assignments a breeze. So if you have the capability, downloading their free apps, downloading either on iOS or on Android. You can take pictures of your work and upload it directly into the assignment. It's a really great feature. If you don't have that access, it's as simple as taking a picture or scanning a copy of your assignment and saving it into the file. So it can happen both ways. However, I would highly recommend the Schoology app on a phone or a tablet. Your courses are split into two sections. You'll have your core courses, which are your English, math, history, and science. And those are the courses that we will be concerned with specific grades, specific assignments, due dates, the school type stuff of education. Those courses have specific requirements that you will need to meet. And we'll talk through timeline and flexibility here in just a second. You will be receiving some print resources. Now, I did send an email out saying we got some back order materials. They have not come in yet. So we are putting together as best we can for today and this week those materials to send with you today. And then I will be following up as soon as we have the bulk or the rest of the orders in. But you'll be receiving a Shirley Grammar book. That'll be a consumable. That'll be something that your scholars can work right in. You'll get a Saxon Math textbook, a power-up book that they can practice in. Story of the World for our history program. Journeys. You'll get manipulatives at the lower grades for learning math concepts. So we'll be providing those to you. In addition, on our website, at our Back to School link, there is a tab for resources. And there are supplemental resources that I have listed there that would be beneficial to the program, however, not required. I just want to make sure that's very clear. The beneficial resources are for you to enrich your experience at home. If you would like to add things to what we are doing, you're welcome to go there. It's a great set of resources and links to specific items that would help the home experience. Again, they are not required. But we thought it would be good to provide that to you as a supplement. We also have digital programs that we will be giving access to scholars at certain times, and those buttons will be all in that Clever landing page. So all the kids will have to do is the same process that you will do today or tomorrow when you go in to begin your orientation. They will just simply click on Schoology or click on Study Island or click on Exact Path, and they will begin, it will take them right into their account. The only exception, I believe, is Saxon Math, our digital resources, but we are working on streamlining that. You may have to log in one time. Once you log in one time, that should take care of it. So we will be providing your teachers with that login information for when that is ready. I want to talk briefly about hours per week per grade. So this chart just simply talks through the minimum amount of hours per week that we're looking for in the core subjects. So there's two sets of data that I'm going to talk through here real quick. Kindergarten, we're looking at 1 to 2 hours per week per subject. So in English, for the week, for our kindergartners, we're looking for an hour to 2 hours, an hour a day, 40 minutes a day. Can you go above that? Yes, you can. We have some scholars in the room who blew those numbers out of the water, and I think had a great time doing it. Yeah? Excellent. Our first through third graders, 2 to 3 hours a week, again, per subject. So in a given week, we're looking for about 2 to 3 hours of math work for first and third grade. I hope that's clear. In 4th through 6th grade, we're looking at 3 to 4 hours, and then 7th to 8th grade, we're looking at 4 to 5 hours, about an hour a day per subject. Those are the minimum core subject requirements. Because we also have enrichment subjects. These are the things that make school come alive for kids. the art, the music, the PE, the ability to study languages, the ability to, for you as a family educating at home, to bring to us some alternate opportunities for education, some religious studies, some alternate language studies. If you want to study Mandarin, we can allocate some time to that as far as moving towards your complete hours for the year. The maximum amount of hours per week in an enrichment course is about 3 hours. So if you are studying, let's say you are eyeing up the Olympics for gymnastics, we can't have you log 27 hours of PE for a week. It's just not going to be a good balance. So what we want to do is we're going to limit those enrichment hours to about 3 hours per week. Some weeks you may enter more because the next week you might not have any. So that's why I have that little caveat on there. What we're looking for is a good balance of core subject and enrichment opportunity. And for us to build that relationship with you so that you feel like you are giving to your kids the best education that they can get. We're here to serve you in that. Logging hours, the minimum hours per week get us to the end goal in May. So these numbers are obviously a lot higher than the first set of numbers that you saw, but this is in total. This is a ballpark number to hit for the entire week with all of your education. So English, math, history, PE, art, all of that. We're looking at these amounts of hours. In kindergarten, about 10 hours a week will get you through to the entire year, through to May. And you will abide by what the state is asking for us. First through third grade, we're looking at 20 hours a week. Fourth through sixth, 25 hours a week. And then seventh and eighth, we're looking at about 30 hours a week worth of work. Parental involvement at these lower grade levels, kindergarten, first through third, it's almost a one-to-one relationship. We're going to need your support at home to make sure kids are logging into the right place, that they are understanding what they need to do, to sit alongside of them. As the scholars get older, that time diminishes. Again, that isn't a rule. That's kind of a guideline. Some scholars need more support. Some scholars don't need any support. And we've had both situations. We've had some scholars where we've had very little contact with the family members, but the kids have done really well. And likewise, we've had some scholars, even in the older grades, that there was direct contact with the families the entire time. And it is all based on that relationship. And that's really what we want to focus on for you, is building that relationship so that you feel that your kids are getting a great education. Assignments will come through Schoology. The due dates will be somewhat flexible. There are some due dates that we need to hold your scholars accountable to. However, as far as points go for an assignment, if work is in before Monday morning at 8 o'clock, they will not receive any reduction in points. So, for example, this week coming up, August 6th, first day of school, they have an assignment to write a short personal story about themselves. It has to be a paragraph long, and they have to submit it. If they get it in, even if it's due on Wednesday, if they get it in by Monday morning, they will still have the opportunity to receive full credit because they've done work that week. So we're giving you that week amount of time to finalize any homework assignments that are given. If it comes in after that, it will be a 10% reduction in points. And that is to do several things. One, to protect the cohesiveness of a classroom for our teachers. Because again, we want to build those relationships. We don't want to be a computer program that you just click buttons and you just go through your emotions and then you finish school for the year without ever having talked to someone. Our lessons are dynamic. They are adjusting regularly. Our teachers, if they realize they're going too slow or too fast, will adjust and change the lessons for the following week. It would just be the same way if they were in school, in a brick and mortar setting. In order to benefit you, we are saying that we are flexible on that due date within that week. Little caveat. If there is an assignment that is needed in preparation for a hangout or a class meeting, it would be very difficult to participate if that assignment wasn't done. So balancing those two worlds is going to be a little bit of a trick, but I think we can walk through that. However, as far as points are concerned, they will be due on Monday mornings before 8 a.m. By the way, that's the same deadline for logging hours for the previous week. So Monday mornings at 8 a.m., we are going to begin running reports to make sure scholar hours have come in. All of our submissions for assignments will go through Schoology. Emailed assignments will not count. If you email your teachers and say, here's my essay, your teachers will be very kind to you, and I might not know. Okay. Your teachers will be very kind to you, but we need it to all go through Schoology because in Schoology, we've got all our grades, we've got attendance for our meetings, that you as parents have access to monitor on a real-time basis. Your Leman family's email address, the one on the sheets of paper that I handed out, those accounts are your accounts, parents, to monitor the kids' activity in Schoology. In that, you can look at real-time grades, comments that your teachers leave. You can print reports. If you want a weekly progress report printed, you can do that. I have the program set up to email you daily any progress that your scholar has made. You can adjust that. You can get different levels of emails coming to you. And that will be one of the parent trainings that I'll do probably in late August, so that we can, once we have enough data in there, to begin getting that information to you. If your scholar struggles and submits it anyway, there's a way to resubmit assignments so that your teachers can view drafts, so they can look at second chances. They can adjust how they assess based on that. So there's an opportunity to do multiple submissions for assignments as well. And again, that piece on flexibility. If you are in a position where you need to take a day off, that is perfectly fine. You guys are at home. You know the ins and outs of what are going on at your house. I have one family that couldn't be here today. They may show up later, but they've communicated to me because they are constantly traveling with their company throughout all of Arizona and into California, and they're doing Leman Virtual Academy because their scholars can work at night, or they can work on the road if they need to. And it's a really neat opportunity. If your schedule necessitates you having to take a day off, take a day off. That is perfectly fine. Because what we are looking at is hours per week, which translates to hours per year. We're concerned about the amount of hours that you log by the end of the year and the amount of coursework that you complete. So those two pieces tied together are how we keep tabs on how much school is being done. And I hope that makes sense. I get this question a lot about pacing, because if we are going to go on vacation and it's not during a regularly scheduled Leman break, can we work ahead? Can we catch up if we're behind? Yes, you can. However, I would give you this bit of advice. My preference, instead of working ahead, would be to work deeper. Keep in mind that we are trying to build a community within the classroom. Friendships amongst the kids, a relationship between the teachers and the children. And If scholars are just plowing ahead at their own pace through a specific set of skills, then discussion is going to be all over the map, and we ruin that opportunity to have a good discussion. However, imagine if your scholar is flying through their history program, doing great, loving it, and wants to learn more. Give them the opportunity. If they're studying Aristotle and Socrates, let them dig into that. Keep on pace with the rest of the class, but then give them the resources and the opportunities to go deeper into the subjects that are interesting to them. That flexibility, that adjustability with our curriculum and with our relationship with you as a family is, I think, what makes us different than a lot of the other virtual schools that are out there. And honestly, it makes us different than a brick and mortar school, because we have that opportunity, because it is your time and your schedules that you are allowed to adjust as needed. So where do we begin? After today, you have login information in front of you. That login information will start your orientation process. Your orientation will begin when you go through the course in Schoology. So your kids have an account and the parents have an account. The parents, the family account, is where this all begins, because I would like each of the families to walk through together, parent and scholar. So whoever's going to be overseeing the program at home and the scholar or scholars will go through the parent orientation class together, so they can get to know Leman, get to know the ins and outs. In that, you will have some opportunity as a parent to learn how to submit assignments, to comment on assignments, and to proceed through a course in Schoology. At the end of that course, you will have the opportunity to log 4 hours of orientation. That will take you right into the link for attendance. That will be your first official attendance for this school year. So this time that you are spending today or tomorrow, before August 6th, the time that you are spending going through the orientation absolutely counts towards school. So please log that. Once you log that attendance, it will open up your first day of school folder in your orientation class. You won't be able to get in there until then, but once that opens, it will have information for your scholars to go and log in. So you will have your scholars login information right there. So your first step as a family is to log in with Google. Go to the website and click on the Scholar Login. There'll be a Login with Google button right on that page. All you have to do is click on it, and it will take you right into the program. You'll see Schoology, you'll see attendance. You're going to start with Schoology as a family. Last piece of information for today is getting materials. Families may schedule a pickup at either this building, our central office at 555 East River Road in Tucson, or one of our brick and mortar campuses. I will ask that you schedule that with us so that we can make sure we have resources available at that site. All of our resources are held here in Tucson. If you live more than 30 miles from one of our brick and mortar campuses, we will ship those materials to you. Families may request a shipment of materials if they live beyond. If there are other extenuating circumstances, please send me an email. And this is for everybody watching on YouTube as well. If there are extending circumstances, please send me an email so we can arrange a pickup of the materials. All of that said, the materials are secondary to what we're really doing. We're building relationships. We're getting the kids excited about school. This next week, I've worked with the teachers. I've talked to the teachers. There's going to be little print book assignments that are due this week that they're going to get into. It's going to be a lot more getting to know the kids and a lot more getting the school year off the right way. So if you do not have your materials ready for Monday, that is absolutely okay. Please still be in communication with your teacher and prepare to log in for that. So I want to thank you all for coming today. If you have questions, which I'm sure there are plenty, We'll absolutely open this up to a little bit of Q&A. We do have a few snacks left, and I do have some resources that we will try and get out as best we can. Thanks again for coming, and I really appreciate it. It's good to see all your smiling faces. And kids, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's already school time, but I'm excited to see all of you. I'm glad that you're here, and I hope you're excited to meet your teachers and to get started for the school year. So thanks again for coming, and if anybody has any questions, I'll gladly entertain those. Yes, ma'am.
This login into Wave, is that something?
It may or may not. If you have an old Gmail at Leman family, some of them we had to reset, some of them we did not. So if you log in with your old password. If it accepts it and goes through, then we didn't have an issue with that account. If you have an issue, try this information. Yes, ma'am. Again, the same thing. Your scholar email, if you were with us last year, your scholar email may have been reset. Some of them we had to. So it may log them. It may log them in. If not, you'll receive that information in the orientation. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know if there's any plans to extend virtual academy to high school?
We make plans all the time. That's a wonderful question. Next question. No. The high school question is probably my, if I had to rate them, that's probably at the very top of parents' concerns. We are talking. We've got some programming in place that we could probably make a step in that direction. It requires going to the state board and getting approval for a high school. There's a lot of hoops we have to jump through in order to do that. We are talking about it. We don't have plans in place yet. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I'm just wondering if your scholar has an IEP, how will they be accommodated when it's online?
Excellent question. We absolutely honor IEPs, and we will be in touch with families. So part of the enrollment packet, if your scholar has an IEP, we need to have notification of that. Our Exceptional Student Services Director, Ms. Brenda Mosley, will be reaching out to families to begin setting up introductions, to be setting up meetings. Depending on the needs of the IEP, we arrange what we need to do. Some of the nice things is a lot of accommodations are taken care of because it's a virtual setting for any scholar. So extended time, that's built into what we're doing. Preferential seating. Hopefully you're close enough or far enough away from your computer so you can see the assignment. So a lot of the things take care of themselves, but we will still be overseeing that. And we have a special education department that works with me to oversee that program. So thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Are there set times that the scholar needs to be available to log on? Like, are there live sessions with the teachers?
So the question is, are there live sessions? Do scholars have specific time? We start school at 5 a.m. sharp. You know, if the computer shuts off right now, I'm going to be in trouble. No, we have some scheduled classes, and your teachers will be working with you to organize that schedule. Those courses, or those classes, I should say, those group meetings will be with all the scholars in that grade level. Those are scheduled so that the teacher can get them all in. If there is a conflict, that's something that we will work out, but those would be things we would have to log into. I am working with our teachers to develop a file of recorded lessons for those conversations, so in case you cannot log in, you'll be able to log in afterwards and view the session. But the idea, again, keeping a relationship piece, keeping a classroom environment, we really want to keep that central. So there are some points that they would need to be logged in for. Other than that, when you get school done, how you get school done is really up to each family. I had one scholar last year who did no work on Fridays. He put in long days, Monday through Thursday, and he had a 3-day weekend every weekend. And that worked out perfectly well for us because he was straight A's. He was doing all his work. He was coming onto campus to meet with me. He was doing just a great job with school. He completed the coursework and he completed his hours. And that is what we're concerned with. He then had the freedom to explore other things, which was great. It was a great experience for him. Any other question? Yes.
Do we need to submit enrichment courses that we're doing, or how does that work?
Yes and no. So anything that you would bring in as a family and say, we would like to do this and pursue this as a part of school, that's a conversation between you and me, and we can talk through what that looks like, talk through parameters for that, and then either say yes or no. It gets tricky if it's a program at another school or a program that you're paying for. So there's some ins and outs that we have to be careful with, but that's a relationship thing. So if there are activities that you are interested in, please feel free to reach out to me, and we can begin to create those opportunities. Yes, ma'am.
Let's say there's art class at the East Side. We attend that art class as a recruiter and take part of art.
In theory, yes. Again, that's going to be setting up a relationship between you and me and the local school. We have had some scholars who have participated on campus with different activities. So with art and PE, those specials particularly, and it has worked really well. There are certain requirements that we would have to match. So it would have to be for an extended amount of time. So, what we don't want to do is in the school environment, have kids just randomly showing up in art class. So it would be more of like a catalog, like we're studying Impressionist arts for the month of September. So a scholar can join the classes for that month. But then we would hold you accountable to be there every day. So again, it's that relationship piece. And with the size of our academy right now, we can make a little bit more allowance for things like that. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. Kids, do you have any questions? I didn't hear from any of you. No questions? Okay. No, we're good? Excellent. Well, thanks for coming. Please enjoy some refreshments.
Did you have some of the materials?
All right. Thanks again for coming. If you have more questions, if you need my contact information, you're welcome to reach out to me.
The